to this edition of EMU Today TV. This is a special edition. We are now in our 5th year. So we want to thank all of you for tuning in, month in, month out, each academic year. We appreciate your ongoing support. All right, we have a very special guest. We're going to talk about the enrollment records here for our freshman class at Eastern Michigan University. I'm so pleased to have with me Mr. Kevin Kucera, and he's the Vice President of Enrollment Management at the university. Kevin, thanks for joining me on EMU Today TV. How you doing?
Mark, it's an absolute pleasure to be here. I'm doing fine today. Thank you so much, sir.
Absolutely. So good to have you again. You've been on EMU Today TV. We've talked in the past about enrollment, but we wanted you to come back on this year. The academic year is still relatively young. Here we are in the October time period, but you've had some great news as it relates to the enrollment for this year's class. Talk about that.
Yeah, we were really excited. Coming off the pandemic year, it was sort of an interesting return to what we thought might be a little bit back to a normal year for us on the recruitment trail. We were used to, during the pandemic, obviously, we got used to doing a lot of our events virtually. Our open houses, our high school visits, all of that was done virtually. But this past year, we were able to kind of segue back a little bit to normalcy. We started getting campus a little bit more open and families were able to come. Social distancing was still in play, but people got to see the campus a little bit. And this fall, we welcomed 2,255 new freshmen. We were very excited. That was a 20% increase over the previous year. Nearly 400 more freshmen joined us this year. So we were very, very pleased with the results of that.
So I'm curious. So you said a 20% increase, is that right?
That is correct.
Yeah. So what are the driving forces for this increase of the freshman class? I mean, what is it? What feedback are you getting from those students who just joined us for the first time this year, their parents and everybody else? What's been driving that increase?
Yeah, I think there's several things. There's never just one thing, but I think number one, parents and students really recognize the value of an Eastern Michigan University education, sort of the value added proposition. And I think my team and I think, our admissions staff did a really nice job of kind of framing the 5 colleges that we have, the key academic programs that we have. Plus, we had some really nice additions to our physical plant. Mark, I know that you're aware of our Game Above College of Engineering and Technology. Went through a $40 million renovation project, and that's really created a lot of buzz on campus. When prospective students walk into that particular facility, they're very excited about it. Just staying with that college, they had a 40% increase in their freshman enrollment. We went from 227 up to 317 entering freshmen. So one college by itself brought in 90 more freshmen. So again, that was a big thing for us as well. I think the other thing that has helped us also is our geography a little bit, Mark, because when you look at the demographics of Michigan and when you look at 18-year-olds who are graduating from high school, the large concentration is really in the southeastern part of Michigan. So when you take a look at Wayne, Oakland, Macomb counties, Washtenaw County, there's some large population bases of 18-year-olds. And I think perhaps post-COVID, I think maybe families were saying that they might want to consider staying a little bit closer to home, as opposed to maybe venturing out of state. And so I think that helped us. I know, for example, in Wayne County, we were up over 200 freshmen. This year, we had about 850 freshmen in Wayne, and that was up significantly. We were also up in Washtenaw and Oakland County. So again, we found a lot of people that probably knew about Eastern. They really took a long look at us and they said, this is a great place to start my education this year. So we're very fortunate with the geography also associated with it.
So, and so the majority of the freshmen coming into EMU this year, they're primarily from Metro Detroit, primarily southeast of Michigan, or is it geographically dispersed across the state of Michigan and beyond?
Yeah, I mean, when you take a look at the entire state of Michigan, we had 1,950 freshmen. Coming in from Michigan. So that means we had 300 freshmen from other locations. So that 1,950, that also represented approximately a 350 student increase for us. So Michigan as a state did very, very well for us this year. Now, again, 355 from the entire state, but if you wanted to zone in on Wayne, Washtenaw, Oakland, you're probably talking, another 250 students from that area. So it was concentrated in Wayne and Oakland and Washtenaw, but we did well, I think, throughout the whole state.
Well, it's nice that, excuse me, Eastern is obviously located in Washtenaw County, with obviously the backyard of Wayne County, and like you mentioned, Oakland and Macomb and these other counties. So it's nice to be able to pull some, keep those students, quite frankly, in the state of Michigan and keep them close to home. And I would think that another factor probably is the cost. I know there's been some investment in buildings on campus, a lot of capital investments that have taken place recently. From a cost standpoint, are we still relatively competitive relative to the other institutions in the state, in the Mid-American Conference and beyond the Mid-American Conference as well across the Midwest?
That's a really good question, Mark. We've always really prided ourselves on being affordable. Eastern has spent a lot of our own internal resources trying to make our education as affordable as possible for students. We introduced 10 years ago when I first got to Eastern, we introduced a program, a scholarship program called the Education First Opportunity Scholarship. And what we say, Mark, would be, give me a 3.0 out of high school, file your free application for federal student aid. And if you show enough need to qualify for a federal Pell Grant, we will take that Pell Grant, apply it towards your tuition bill, and I'll scholarship the difference. So that's been a real winner for us. When you take a look at that, many of our students can take advantage of that opportunity and not have to rely upon a student loan as well. And so that's a very appealing proposition for them. So that scholarship program has worked well. Our general academic scholarships that are not based on need. So we have academic scholarships based on your high school GPA. It used to be based on test scores such as an SAT or an ACT combined with your high school GPA. But many colleges, for admissions purposes, we went with test optional since students were having a difficult time getting into testing centers. So we recalibrated our scholarship model really just to focus on GPA. So that, I think, is another positive for us. And then finally, we flipped to a block tuition this year. So students can take 16 credits and instead of 12, and it's going to be the same price if you go 16 as opposed to 12. So we're really trying to say to our students, hey, we'd love to have you here, but we want you out in 4 years. Take your 32 credits every year, be done in 4 years, go out and get a job. And we have great placement rates. And when you can go out and get a job after 4 years, Mark, in college, and you don't hang around for the 5th year, you think about paying tuition the 5th year, but think about you lost income because you could have been out in that working world a year sooner. So we're really trying to emphasize with our academic advising and with our block tuition, the flat rate tuition, hey, you can get this done in 4 years. Get out and get a job and be excited about being an alum of Eastern Michigan.
And so it sounds like a lot of flexibility, trying to provide students with the types of programs and financial challenges that people are having, certainly trying to provide them with the options and alternatives that they need to certainly get that degree within a 4-year window. You mentioned GPA. It's my understanding that this is the highest GPA on record, or am I missing?
No, you're exactly correct. Our GPA was just a little bit over 3.4 when I started this.
Freshman at large.
I'm talking about freshman at large coming out of high school, 3.4. When I started this journey 10 years ago at Eastern, we were at about 3.1 GPA. Now, someone might say, well, 3.1 to 3.4, is that a big deal? Statistically, that's really a big deal. And when you look at the academic preparation of a 3.4 student, they have the academic ability to graduate in 4 years from Eastern. So again, it's a really nice fit. And our faculty do a great job with our students in the classroom, and they're very personalized with their education approach. They're very available outside of class. So if a student is having any sort of issue at all, we have wonderful faculty who are happy to sit down in their office and chat with them. We also have great support services on campus in the Halley Library. We have a wonderful staff there, a reading center, writing center, if students need any help with preparation of assignments or anything, review things. So yeah, I'm very, very pleased with the 3.4 GPA, and we know that this is going to have a positive impact on our retention and graduation rates. And that's really, really important. The outcomes is very, very important. And we're seeing that uptick on our graduation rates as well.
But that also implies to me, Kevin, that it suggests to me, I should say, that if we've gone from a 3.1 to a 3.4 in terms of the GPA for the incoming freshmen, Have you changed the recruiting strategy? So in other words, these kids are coming out of high school at a 3.1, now it's a 3.4. So what's changed in terms of elevating that GPA for those kids coming out of high school into the college department at Eastern Michigan?
Yeah, I think we've done a really nice job, Mark, in terms of showcasing each of our 5 colleges. Each college is very active with their own elements of recruitment. And so particularly in our virtual world, we found that open houses by colleges with our faculty, with our deans, getting the message across. We really like showcasing our faculty because they're the best salespeople, for the university. And, a faculty member can speak so well about their program and what makes their program so unique. And that really excites, students who are, top-notch students. This is a place I want to go. This is a faculty member that I want to work with. We have a wonderful undergraduate symposium where our students are working with faculty members to do presentations on topics. It's fantastic. And again, prospective students, they see things like that. And that's what really excites, our top students is that interaction they have and the opportunity to work one-on-one with a faculty member. And if you're thinking about grad school, the recommendation that you will get from an Eastern Michigan professor to help you gain the grad school of your choice is invaluable. And I think families are recognizing that as well.
Yeah, we have about a minute remaining together. So I want to ask you briefly, as we think about the future, next year and beyond, any other thoughts in terms of our recruiting efforts and continuing to grow that freshman base here at Eastern?
Yeah, I think the other thing that I really want to mention is that we had our most diverse class as well this year. We had 40% of our students self-reporting as students of color, as an example. And again, we really like to target our recruitment strategies to areas geographically where we can appeal to all student populations. But to have that amount of diversity is just wonderful, because when students get out of college and they hit the working world, they're going to have a diverse workplace environment. And so to have that type of diversity amongst our students and to be in a community that appreciates diversity, international students, we had a great year with them as well. So I think that you're going to have a wonderful sense of diversity on our campus. And I think that's one of the unique aspects of Eastern Michigan University.
I could not agree more. I think that certainly the diversity component is essential, and it's the way the real world is. And I applaud you and your team, Kevin, for doing a phenomenal job. And thank you very much. And we wish you much continued success for all the great work that you're doing. Thank you for your hard work and dedication. We appreciate it.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me today, Mark. I appreciate it.
Absolutely, my pleasure. Kevin, thank you again, and we wish you much continued success. Now we'll show you some important activities underway by the Eastern and Michigan University Game Above College of Engineering and Technology as displayed at this year's Motorbella Auto Show. And to refresh your memory, the Detroit Auto Show was postponed this year because of the pandemic, and a decision was made to have it out in Pontiac, Michigan, where EMU had a significant presence. So this video will show you what took place recently at Motorbella in Pontiac, Michigan. We'll be right back after this short break.
Well, we're at Motorbella today to show off some of the work we do in cybersecurity that's related to automotives.
The School of Information Security and Applied Computing teaches the offensive and defensive techniques that are used to teach students about cybersecurity.
Well, it's just a point of pride to be here with we have Lamborghinis and Maseratis right over my shoulder, and then we have Eastern Michigan students that are master's and doctoral level students showing how this all comes together in the big automotive picture.
Motorbella is an avenue in which we can actually expose our capabilities and show the world the technologies we have. Today, we are focusing on vehicle cybersecurity as the area where we are trying to lead the world actually in that field.
This is important because in the not so far away future, none of us will be driving anymore. We'll have autonomous vehicles driving us everywhere. And how will those autonomous vehicles operate? Well, through technology. And what's technology's biggest flaw is its security.
I understand the danger and I understand the ramifications of this and the importance of us putting our heads together and then collaborating with industry and other academic institutions to make sure that we address these issues.
As I learned just a few minutes ago, you can image my little beeper that I use to get into my car, and then they can take that from the computer, rerun that image, and break into the car.
We are just trying to hack into the system, which is really exciting because then we can break into the system, see how it's done and see how it works, and then just trying to identify the solutions and probably put forward those solutions to the companies later in the future.
We emphasize the word ethics in there so that students will learn some dangerous techniques, but they learn how to use them in the proper way. Students have a big chance now. Cybersecurity is a hot field now. So if students come in and learn with us about these concepts, they're going to be very effective once they graduate, and even before then.
I think we have the education that will lead to promising careers and promising jobs as you graduate.
All right, welcome back to EMU Today TV. I'm your host, Marquez Lee. I hope you enjoyed that video. Eastern Michigan University's role at the recent Motor Bella Detroit's Auto Show, which was held this year in Pontiac. So we had a chance to enjoy the festivities. And again, Eastern Michigan is getting out and being engaged in the community. All right, we're going to continue the conversation with a very special guest. Of course, all of our guests are very special, but I'm more than pleased to welcome our basketball coach. Coach Stan Heath is the new basketball coach for Eastern Michigan University. Coach, thanks for joining me. How you doing?
I'm great, Mark. Thanks for having me on again, and look forward to our conversation.
Absolutely. Yeah, we were just chatting. I had you on my radio show, and we got into a great conversation about a lot of things. So let's start the basics. My understanding is that you are coming home. You are coming home. So kind of give us that brief journey of your career and how you landed back home at Eastern Michigan University as the head basketball coach.
Well, I am a native Detroiter. I was born and raised in Detroit, and attended high school in Detroit.
West side over here.
There you go. And then, my college experience was I earned a scholarship here at Eastern Michigan and played basketball. I was on the basketball team for 4 years, and it was a great experience just to be here. I met some great people, great friends that I'm still have relationships today. And actually, we have homecoming this coming weekend, and I'm excited to see so many guys that I've played with, and we remain friends. So I'm excited about that. And as well as I got a quality education here at Eastern Michigan. I went into education. I got my teaching degree. I thought I was going to be a high school coach and a high school teacher, and some kind of way I ended up in college. So, my experience since then, I've been in so many different places. I've been at Michigan State as an assistant coach. I was at Bowling Green for a little while. I was a head coach at Kent State, head coach at University of South Florida, as well as being a part of the Orlando Magic and coaching their G League team and being a part of their staff. And now it seems like I've come a little bit full circle back home at my alma mater. I'm excited. I look forward to bringing Eastern Michigan basketball back to the top part of the MAC and getting into the NCAA tournament.
And coming home, if you will, has the university welcomed you with open arms, the students? Is it kind of like, you fell off the bike, you get right back on the bike and you ride it again with no issues at all?
Well, I think it's yet to be determined how all that's going to play out. I think once we start, having basketball games with students back, with fans back, I think there'll be a little bit more interaction. But what I've had so far with whether it's doing a radio show, doing an interview, or just walking through the bookstore on campus, it's been great. And I've had a chance to connect with people that I haven't met before, and people that are like, hey, I remember you, and you had hair back then, whatever it may be. It's been great to be back. And obviously COVID, I think, has played a part into maybe everybody being a little bit more community oriented, doing things on campus, doing things in the community. But hopefully that will change, and there'll be more of a connection with more people. I know that will happen. It's happened gradually, but I think it's going to happen a lot more as we kind of get better and a better handle on the COVID situation.
And let's talk about your coaching philosophy that you're bringing to the university. What is the coaching philosophy, and how is that going to translate to the student athletes playing basketball here?
Well, I've always been a defensive oriented coach, a guy that believes in man-to-man, being aggressive, making it very difficult for your opponents to score, creating offense from your defense. So that's always kind of been, my foundation. But I do think over the last 4 years of just having the experience of being in professional basketball, offense has now been something that's, I don't know, it's something that really excites me because I know the importance of scoring. You got to score the ball and finding different ways to manipulate your offense to help your team get quality shots, quality possessions so you can score points. I think the fans like scoring. They like up-tempo basketball. They like teams that share the basketball and teams that play with pace on the offensive end. So I think you'll see a lot of that. Our style will be probably a lot different than maybe what you're used to, not just at Eastern Michigan, probably MAC basketball, because if you watch professional basketball, you'll see a lot of that in Eastern Michigan style of play. Now, obviously, we won't have some of the great players and some of the great talents you see in the NBA, but I do think as our team has been practicing, we've been working out, the guys are picking things up, and we have a better understanding of what we're doing out there and how it can be effective. We're going to be a hard and difficult team for people to guard, and I think our fans are going to like what they see.
And talk about the educational component. I had the opportunity, one of the members of your staff invited me to talk to a basketball recruit, and I guess he came to the university, not because, but
look at you.
But I always talk about the importance of the education component, the student athlete, and talk about from your perspective as a coach of this program, the value of the education and the importance to the students playing basketball here.
Well, I think for every young person that goes to college and comes to Eastern Michigan that's a part of our program, I want them to value their education. I think, basketball is going to take you so far, and hopefully it takes you to the highest level of professional sports. And maybe it's just a great experience in college, and maybe it's, hey, you play a little bit. But at the end of the day, for the next, hopefully 30, 40 years, that education is going to have a tremendous value on your life. And I'm a great example, I think, of getting your education here at Eastern Michigan, allowing it to open up doors and opportunities for yourself, and then continuing your education beyond. I know, you've gone beyond your bachelor's degree. I went beyond as well and got my master's degree from Wayne State. And, I always cherish, even though I probably haven't used it in sports administration, I always value the fact that I have it, and who knows, I may use it. But I do think that, a lot of the education part translates into even the basketball piece. Hopefully someday you're a person that can monetize, what you do on the court. And so you need to have a accounting background. You need to have, just kind of how to manage and how to utilize what you're doing to have value for yourself. So I definitely feel like it's an important piece. I think Eastern Michigan education is a quality education. And it's a great selling point. I think when you get on, when you're on a Zoom call or in person with a student, regular student or a student athlete, as well as it is for me to be able to sit here in front of a parent, in front of a young man and say, hey, I went to school here. I got my education here. I got my degree from here. And it's been great for me. It's really opened up doors and opportunities for myself.
And as we talk about, as we talk about the students that you're recruiting, talk about your 3 or 4 pillars that are important to you as you're recruiting students to play basketball at EMU as well.
Well, I think the first thing that's important to me is just character. I think it starts with character. You want to know, what kind of person this is. Is this a person that, has a good foundation? Is he a hard worker? Is he someone that is coachable, someone that's going to want to learn and want to get better, want to improve himself? Is it someone that is going to be respectful of others, whether it's your teammates, whether it's your coaches, whether it's your campus professors and teachers and people they're going to interact with during the course of their experience at college? So it really starts with character for me. I think the next thing that's important for me is how motivated someone is. I think self-starters, people that are hungry in life, can achieve a lot. You can have all the talent in the world, but if you're not really, willing to put in the work to allow that talent to grow and develop, it's all for naught. So I would take somebody that's maybe a 7 that has great motivation compared to a 9 out of 10 that's not motivated, because I think that 7 is going to surpass that 9 every single time. So motivation is a big deal for me. I think the last thing is someone who I think aspires to be great. Aspires to beyond, can see themselves beyond where they are right now, that has vision, that has, just purpose for their life. And so I think all those things are important. And I like young men that, have spiritual connections as well, too. I think those are very valuable things to have in life.
And as we talk about, when I did the radio interview with you, I shared with you I was a student athlete here as well. And you were a student athlete a few years after me. And certainly, I think those were the mid 80s. Those are the late 70s, mid 80s. So times have changed. And that the kids are involved with much more in terms of social media and constantly being exposed to things. Talk about how do you navigate that challenge of constantly being in this social media world as a student athlete?
I think a big part of coaching is that I think you have to be adaptable. I think, whether you're in football, basketball, baseball, any of the sports, volleyball, it doesn't matter. During the course of the games, things happen. Somebody gets hurt. There's maybe foul problems. Maybe in football, you're down by 10 and your running game's not working. You got to go to a passing game. So I think just within our sports itself, it's you're always constantly making adjustments. You're adapting to situations. Just like right now, we have a transfer portal where in men's basketball, if a young man wants to transfer at the end of his first year, he can leave your program. He can go to another school and vice versa. Another kid from another school can come to your school. So we've had to adjust with that. We've had to adjust with the NIL, the name likeness, where young men can monetize their name, their image, and their likeness. And so we've had to make an adjustment of how we're going to manage that. And I don't think anybody has a total answer to that, but we have to make the adjustment knowing that that's out there, that's available. And obviously I'm supportive of a young man that can, utilize what he's doing and earn, make an earning from that. So I know I've kind of got off the beat a little bit, but I just think that adjusting to the social media world, whether it's the Instagrams, the Facebooks, the things that are out there, I think we try to do as much as we can with our sports information people or outside people to help educate our young people as to best use that. It can be used for a positive, but it can also be used as a negative. And we don't want it to be used as a negative, and here's why. So we try to educate them as much as possible as to, hey, these are some benefits of it. These are some negatives, and you got to be aware of that and try to make sure, because once it goes out there, you can't pull it back. And so you have to control your narrative and not allow someone else to control your narrative.
And as we wrap up, we have about a minute or so, a little less than a minute remaining. Let me ask you very quickly about the social movement, just very briefly. A lot of change in the last year and a half. How has that impacted your philosophy of dealing with the kids, briefly?
For me, it's just making sure that our players, even students around, we're just aware, just have more of an awareness, be educated on things, try to bring in speakers or somebody that can give them not just what's currently going on, but how did we get here? What happened, 50 years ago or 100 years ago? Who were the key people, some of the same messages, because some of the same, and this, Mark, some of the same things that we're talking about today, we were talking about 20 years ago, 30 years ago, 40 years ago, and beyond.
Yes, exactly.
And so for us, it's like, okay, how do we move this needle even faster? Like the needle's moving slightly, but it really needs to move exponentially. And so to me, it's educating our young people, making them aware of things that are happening now, but making sure they're aware of things that happened in the past and how we can move forward.
Well, Coach Stan Heath, I want to welcome you back to Eastern Michigan again. We wish you a lot of success this season, and we encourage all of you to come out and support the basketball team. That's the best wishes to you, Coach.
I'm glad you said that. Please come out and support us. We're going to put a great product out there for our Eastern Michigan fans.
Outstanding. Again, this is Coach Stan Heath, the head basketball coach at Eastern Michigan University. I hope you enjoyed this episode of EMU Today TV. We will be back next time with more outstanding guests. We'll give you an update on what's going on across our great institution. Sit back, relax, enjoy, and we will talk to you soon on EMU Today TV.